And we're live. I'm back in the saddle. This is RockSim Live. My name is Tim Van Milligan. I'm chewing some candy. I shouldn't be eating candy. The sugar is terrible. This is RockSim Live, as I said. I've been gone for 2 weeks. The last 2 weeks, my daughter has had diving competitions. And so I went and watched her. And so I was gone and I missed you. And I think you guys missed me because people were saying, hey, you're going to do them again? Yep, we're here. So thank you for coming. Still chewing. We've got our first ever person from New Zealand, which is really cool. And he calls himself At the Penguin. And so welcome to our New Zealand guest. We are an international podcast. Well, we're not a podcast. We're a live stream. We're so happy to be here. This is about RockSim. So in the chat, which I've got going now, I need your help. I need your RockSim questions. So ask me those questions and we'll see if we can answer them for you to help you design and fly rockets a lot better. I'm still working on it. We're supposed to have a launch tomorrow, and the weather is iffy. It's going to be cloudy because it's already cloudy, and we don't know if it's going to rain or not. We could use the rain, and so we don't know. But it's kind of like the Halloween launch, so everybody's bringing out their odd rocks. And the guys here at the shop have been busy, and they've been having so much fun. I wish I could have joined them in the participation of their rockets, but I've just been crazy busy working on the Nike Hercules. But Martin is planning to fly a rocket called the Cloud of Bats, and it has a number of bats on it. And Vlad and Tristan, if you call on the phone, you'll probably get Tristan or Brendan. Tristan and Vlad are building a coffin rocket. Don't worry about its stability, but they're going to have fun with it anyway. It's been a lot's been going on. It's been fun seeing how excited these guys are getting about the rocket launch, because when we hire people, we don't expect them to know rockets, and so they kind of pick it up along the way. And now they've not only picked it up, but have become excited about it, and that's like really cool to watch. So it's kind of like those, when you're just first starting out in rocketry and all the stuff that you wanted to do and all the questions you've had. That's kind of what they're going through right now, and it's a lot of fun to watch them. And they're growing, exponentially in their rocketry knowledge. And I'm really excited for them. We also have Fat Bank here from Texas, Troy Ermit from Riverton, Utah, Ali Hazma. He says hello. Rick DeFossis. He's got our first question. He's got, can you review how to print fin guides in RockSim? And we have Low Budget Bob here. So thank you, everybody, for showing up. Let me share my screen. Okay, there I am down there. My head is kind of cut off over here. Let me see if I can fix it. I can make it larger. There I am. Hidden behind the Apogee logo on Google. I'll move myself away for just a second and then put myself back. Go back in your corner. Okay, so if you're brand new to this channel, and a lot of people just kind of stumble across it, RockSim is our rocket design and simulation software, and our company is Apogee Components. Our web address is apogeerockets.com. And if you go to the home page, you'll see this banner bar right here, and there'll be a RockSim 11 banner in there. There's also banners for the launch visualizer, which is kind of like the online version. It only does simulations. It can't design, but it's just as important to run simulations. And the simulations are in 3 dimensions, which is really cool. So you can sign up for our newsletter. We have experimental gliding parachutes. I would suggest signing up because we got some information coming out soon. Like I said, we're working on our, which we can't see right now, the Nike Hercules. And if you subscribe to our newsletter, you'll find out when it's going to be released. We're expecting to release it late fall, and we're already into the fall. We've got, let's see, the last part is showing up next week. We've got a tracking number, so we know. And we are ordering shipping boxes. Those are just brown boxes, and we're going to put a label on them. They're going to look really nice. And then we have the instruction manual, and that's what I've been working on, is the instruction manual. It's a complex rocket. There's 220 steps in the instruction manual, and you got to have images for every one of them so that people will know how to build this rocket. So that's what I've been working on. It's I'm not doing all the work myself. We got help from outside contractors. We got help from Martin on the inside. We got our own graphic artists working on them. And we are just scrambling to try to get them done in time. I've made videos on how to assemble it. Those are already done. I needed to have those so that the outside people knew what the instructions were. So those are already done, which is like a load off my chest. But anyway, the Nike Hercules, for those that have not seen it, if you go to the website, you start typing in Nike Hercules, and it'll pop up right here. This is what it looks like. And if you click on these images, it'll bring up bigger images. So that's the rocket. It's a 4-engine cluster, 2-stage. So it's got 5 motors in it, 4 in the bottom and 1 in the top. It's kind of what it looks like lifting off. That's what it looks like on the launch pad. It does launch off of the launch rail. You can see it's a fairly big rocket. It's over like 41 inches tall. Yeah, another launch photo. So that's what we've been working on, is getting this kit ready to go. It's got injection molded pieces. It's got built up fins. Our website's acting a little slow today. I think it's my computer because I got so much going on. But anyway, so that's what I've been working on. People are excited about it, so that's the only thing that's on my mind right now. But there's RockSim stuff going on as well. I just got a new version of RockSim Pro from the programmer, which I want to check out, and I might be using that today in this video. So again, if you go to apogeerockets.com, you can go to how-to and guides, come down here to software, and this will bring up a menu where you can download a free trial. You can purchase the software. There's RockSim and RockSim Pro. They're 2 different programs. They operate the same, but RockSim Pro is more advanced. It does the 6 degrees of freedom flight simulations. It allows canted fins. So you can do some really cool stuff in RockSim Pro. Here you can download videos on how to use it. RockSim Live Training is what we're doing right now, so that'll take you to the archive page, which we haven't updated in a long time. And that's my fault. I just have so much going on. RockSim Help, there's a version history, the system requirements, what computers you're going to need to run it. I'm running a Mac today, and my Mac is getting old. And with running the live stream, it's running really slow. So I apologize in advance. Normally, RockSim runs really fast, but you're going to see it probably run a little bit slower today. Johan, the sloper is here. And John, the scrappist. I guess he built scratch-built rockets. Fat Bank is here, and he has a question. He's asking about the Invicta. So the Invicta is another rocket we're working on. So if you type in here to the in our search, come on, let me click return and maybe I'll click it out. Okay, so the Invicta is another two-stage rocket, and we've already designed this rocket, and we've got all the parts here, but people wanted the Nike Hercules first. So instead of trying to put this out first and then the Nike Hercules, we decided to swap places on them, do the Nike Hercules first and then the Invicta. So the Invicta is, we haven't started the instructions yet, but we have all the parts. So I don't have a date on that yet. Most likely after Thanksgiving, hopefully before Christmas, but can't guarantee it because the Nike Hercules is just so much more complex as far as what we have to do to make it ready. Yeah, so the Invicta is cool, and it's a two-stage rocket, and it's electronic ignition. It's 3 inches in diameter. Here's what the electronics bay looks like. That's what staging is going to look like. So that's what it's about. So hopefully that answers Fat Bank's question. But let me get into RockSim because Rick has a question. His question is, can you review how to print fin guides in RockSim? Okay. So here, let me open up a different design. This one has a fin can, and I'm not sure if that's going to mess things up or not. Okay, so I'm going to my let's go to the Great Goblin. I think this is a more traditional rocket. Okay, so yeah, so this is a traditional, I don't have a fin can on this one. Okay, so say you wanted to create a fin guide for fin placement. Now there's two ways to do it. One is you can, create a bottom view, print that out, and then just set the rocket on and pop the fins in from the sides. The other way is to create a paper wrap. And you can do both in RockSim. Let's go to print. Let's see if we can do this. Okay, so creating the base view. So I'm going to uncheck simulations because I don't want to print out any simulation data. And we want to go to rocket drawings and the base view. And let's click OK. And did it bring up the printer? Yep, it did. Okay, so it brought up the printer menu. And I am going to print to a PDF, save to a PDF so that I can open it. And you can see what it's going to look like when it prints. So let me put this on the desktop. And let's call this base view and save. Okay. And let's see, date modified. I don't know why it brought up that screen. Let's see if it saved it. Let's go to desktop. Okay, it did it twice. One of them is 24K and one of them is 9K. So what's that about? Okay, so let's open this up and see what it looks like. That's a side view, not a base view. Let's see what this one is. There's the base view. Okay, so there's a base view of the rocket. At this point, you have to print this out as to print this out as 100%, you'd have to figure it out. Right now, we know the diameter of the tube is 3 inches, so this to there is 3 inches. So if you print it out and it's not 3 inches, what you got to do is change the scale when you print. So then you go print, and there should be a scale. So here is scale, and then you would print it like, I don't know, like 150%. You have to figure it out. You can see that it's changing the size. 200%. Let's make it 500%. Just watch that corner drawing. See how big it is. So you can change it to any scale you want. So what you do is you print it out, you measure it with a ruler, find out what the dimensions is. Say it's 1 inch. And so then to print it out in full scale, and we know it's 3 inches in diameter, well, it's going to be 300%. So I would just change it to 300%. But first you have to measure it, what it actually prints out at. So that's one way of doing it. And I thought there was a way to print out a 100% scale rocket. So I don't know if it does the base view though. Okay, so we don't want that anymore, don't want that anymore. What we want is the placement guide wrap. So if you click that, then it's going to say, what do you want on this placement guide wrap? So you can, ideally you're going to have fins, but your design might have tube fins, it might have ringtails. You might want to add where the launch lug is located or any pods. And you click OK. It should bring up the printer thing again. And we're going to go print to a PDF. Let's open it in preview and see what happens. It still wants me to save. Open. I don't know what happened. Let's see what happened. It calls it body tube. Let's open it and see what it looks like. Okay, yeah, so there is the wrap. Now this one is 100% scale. So when you print it out, make sure you print it at 100%. So when you go to print, come on, I missed it. Print, and make sure don't say scale to fit. Say scale. Make sure it says 100%. Not 1,000%, 100%. So that when it prints, it's the right size to wrap around the tube. So it's really easy to do. This was a new feature in version 11. So it's not that old. It's a really good question. So hopefully that answered Rick DeFoss's question, how to print fin guides placement. So again, that was just go to print, turn on rocket information. You don't need rocket drawings, you just need the fin placement guide wrap, and that will get it to you. Okay, no more questions. Okay. So I am using the newest version of RockSim Pro. This is a beta version. So what am I working on in RockSim Pro? If you go to the preferences, the new feature is using simplified flight events. Now RockSim Pro and RockSim are different in that RockSim Pro can do a lot more stuff. And because it can do so much more stuff, sometimes that can be confusing. So when we say use simplified flight events, we're saying make it just like RockSim is. So if you know how to use flight events in RockSim, we're just going to do the exact same ones in RockSim Pro. So let's do a launch simulation. So the first thing you do, so you click up here, prepare for launch. That brings up this screen, and we need to put a rocket motor in it. So I'm going to choose an engine. And it will bring up a list of engines. And right now it's bringing up all the 29 millimeter. So let's put in a G motor somewhere. How about a G77 red line? And we'll make it a 7-second delay. Engine overhang 1/4 of an inch, which is good. And so flight events. And the flight events here, I'll make these bigger so you can see them. Okay, so the test criteria is there's a parachute in this rocket, and it's located in the upper stage. If there's anything in here, this would probably be a pod. So you can put parachutes and streamers inside of pods. So that is a different icon that will show up there. And the pods can be on any of the 3 stages. So, you know, it might be this middle stage with a pod. But this one, because it's not showing a pod location, it's in the center of the rocket. And so we're going to deploy it at maximum ejection delay. So this is like the basic, just like RockSim, deploy a maximum ejection delay, deploy at altitude. Let's say, let's first find it, you know, what is Apogee? So we're going to deploy the parachute at Apogee. We'll go to flight profile, and it runs the simulation. And it's going 1,200 feet up. Actually 1953. And now it's going to load in the launch visualizer. And I'm testing all of this right now, and it's running a little slow. Ooh, Rick DeFossa says, ooh, he wants to use the wrap for removable rivets and shear pins. I don't think those are available. You would probably have to put them into your rocket as a launch lug. And then you can put them on the rocket and display them. Okay, so what it's doing right now, it's running a little slow, is it's loading the launch visualizer. And so there's my rocket sitting on the pad, and it's loading the background right now. And it looks like it's in some place that has nice green grass. And I'm zooming out to find out where I am. Oh, I know where I am. I'm along the coast. And right now, north is kind of towards the bottom right corner. This is a little compass down here, and I can swing it around. Let me put north straight up, and then I'll zoom out, and I'll let you guess where we are. Close enough. Okay, so I'm zooming out. So right now, we're right there. I'm zooming out, zooming out. Does this look familiar to anybody? Okay, so it's the bottom left corner of the United States, which you might know as California. And where we're actually launching from is San Diego. So to zoom back in, you just click this button right here, the home button, and it will zoom in. And it's going to put my north back to where it was when I started. And it's touchy on the compass. So I am actually in San Diego right here. There's a little island that the local club in San Diego launches from. And I've been there one time more than a decade ago, so I assume they're still launching in the same spot. So there's this little island, and then right across the bay is SeaWorld. And somewhere over here is the naval base, probably right there, the Marine base. I'm not sure where that is, but anyway, so this is called the launch visualizer, and this is in 3D. And when we launch our rocket, let me go to a profile view, and again, it's swung the compass around, and when we launch, we should see the smoke. Okay, so the rocket is right over here. So the rocket's coming up, and it's going straight up. And we had this one set to deploy at Apogee. Okay, so then the parachute deployed, I can tell. So there's my Apogee point. It's a green dot. So this red line is the upward trajectory. Right when it hit Apogee, the parachute came out. And if I pause it here, and if I zoom in, find the rocket, and as I zoom in, I should see the rocket descending under the parachute. So there's my rocket hanging under the parachute. So we know it's under the parachute. And this cone right here is called the weathercocking cone. And this kind of gives us an indication of, is the rocket weathercocking? And we want it to stay inside the cone. We want the apogee point to stay inside the cone. So as long as it stays inside the cone, we're going to get a green dot. And that tells us that the rocket is going in the direction we want it to, and it's a good flight. So this is the trajectory. The rocket's coming down, and if I take the time slider and I slide it all the way to the end, we can kind of figure out where it's going to land. And it looks like it might be landing in the water, or right along the beach. Yeah, I think we're in the water. Yeah. All right, so that is, I'm just doing some tests here. So that's that first flight. Now, so we know the rocket's going to go 1,953 feet. So let's run another simulation. I'm testing this out because I'm testing out the flight events. So let's deploy it at an apogee, and we need to make that apogee less than 1,900 feet. Let's make it 300 feet. Say we have an altimeter in there that's going to control deployment. And when we hit flight profile, let's see what that looks like. So it's running. It should get the same altitude going up. The difference is the total flight time, because it deployed later in the trajectory. Our flight time should be a lot shorter, which it was. It was, if I cheat here, 67 versus 29.9, about 30 seconds. Which tells me that the rocket did come down a lot faster. I'm zooming out. And when we launch it, okay, the rocket's taking off. We turn the weathercocking cone off. Okay. Okay, so there's the rocket. Okay, so that reached apogee, but the parachute did not deploy. We can see the rocket is screaming down. So when it gets to 300 feet, which is displayed over here, we should get a parachute coming out. So, okay, so something happened, and the rocket is now going to land really close to the pad. Let me zoom in here. So it landed 87 feet from where we took off. So that's really interesting. So that's nice. So did the rocket deploy its parachute at 300 feet? So that's right about there. You can see it was coming down straight. Oops, and I zoomed in. And then something happened. Velocity at deployment was going 138 miles. Altitude at deployment, 282 feet. Should have been 300 feet, but it's pretty close. So what happens sometimes is RockSim is looking for 300 feet, but it's skipping feet. And I think what happened was it just skipped right over 300, and then the next one in line was 282. Let's double click on that. And this brings up the simulation details. Okay, so the recovery system, data, altitude at deployment, 282 feet, velocity, 300 138 miles per hour. Deployment at 22.39 seconds. Okay, so that looks good. That's respectable. So I would say that works. See now, if I went back to the preferences, and this time I uncheck the unsimplified events, and I click OK. Now this takes us back to what RockSim Pro that users are using today, where it's not simplified events. So if I go to the flight events here this time, now you can see something change. So the last time we have two event descriptions. First, the rocket has to hit apogee, and then it has to hit an altitude of 300 feet, and it's got to be less than 300 feet. So our test criteria is either greater than 300 feet or less than 300 feet. Now, if the altitude is greater than 300 feet, so if you accidentally did it like that, when would the parachute deploy? Anytime the altitude, after it hit apogee and it was greater than 300 feet, that's when it's going to deploy. Where's my hand? I got to go this way. Okay, so here's apogee. Here's 300 feet. So the rocket's greater than 300 feet anywhere in between there. So where's it going to trigger? It's going to trigger right at apogee. So if we go to flight profile again, we expect this one to be really close to the one where it deployed at apogee. So I expect to have the total flight time to be pretty close. And it was. It's identical. So the greater than and less than signs are complete, are important. Yeah, so this is the complex way of setting up simulations. It's really good because it allows you to do a lot of different things. So for example, I could deploy the parachute on the way up. So for instance, if I go to prepare for launch again, and I do a flight event, and this time I take away that one, and I say deploy at altitude of 300 feet, and it says greater than 300 feet. So as soon as the rocket takes off, and as soon as it crosses 300 feet, I should pop out a parachute. So let's see if that works right. So let's do a test here. This is the way I beta test when I'm beta testing. It's just running a simulation, see what it looks like. See, it's behaving the way I want. So the maximum altitude this rocket reached was 380 feet. So we deployed the parachute at 300 feet. So why did it come out at 380? Or why was our maximum altitude at 380? And it says altitude at deployment, 300.72 feet. So that's when the parachute came out, but it actually went to 380 feet. So what happened? Well, basically the rocket had so much velocity going up that it had to bleed off that velocity, but it was dragging a parachute behind it. So the parachute was coming up from bottom. So let's see if that's what it looks like. Let me zoom out a little bit here. Okay, so the rocket's going to take off. Okay, 300 feet. Oh, it happened so fast we missed it. Let me turn off that little box. Okay, it's going to run this simulation again. Okay, don't blink. Okay, we blinked. I missed it. Let me back up in time. So right now we're at just about apogee. I know it's apogee because it popped out the green dot. And if we look at it from the right angle, that does look like apogee. This is, like I said, this is in 3 dimensions, and you can look at it from any compass angle. So if I go, the parachute's out, let me go back a second. Okay, at 375 feet, or we're at 2 seconds, and the parachute is out because I can see it. We got to go back. Okay, so here's 300.72 feet. So this is when the parachute popped out. So anything before that, we should not see the parachute, and we do not see the parachute here. I'm trying to find my rocket. There it is, right there. Got some people walking on the path right here. Hopefully they were warned. There's a rocket. Okay, so that worked. So that's deploying the rocket on the way up. Terry Wheelock says, go and design something, then go fly it. He says, can RockSim design floaties for a rocket? No. I think you mean like water wings for kids. Okay, so let me try something else. Let me go back to the preferences, and let's turn simplified events back on. And let's see, we go to prepare for launch, flight events. We can deploy a maximum ejection delay, deploy a time after ignition, deploy a time after apogee. Let's try that one. Let's make the value after apogee of 2 seconds. And, oops, not 21. Light profile. Let's see what it looks like. Okay, so maximum altitude of 953, which is identical to the other one because it reaches the same apogee. I'm looking at here, altitude at deployment, 953. That's not right. This is why we beta test, because we had set it to one second after apogee. Okay, I'm looking at that trajectory. So what I expected to see is it start coming back down and then the parachute opening up. But it did not work. So let's double check, make sure I set it at that. So flight events, no, deployed apogee. I want to deploy time after apogee of 2 seconds. Launch. Okay, so it's still deploying at apogee, so that is not working. Let's go back to the preferences. And let's use the advanced events. And we'll go to flight events. So the rocket, see here it says the rocket has to go to apogee and then the time is greater than 2 seconds. And let's see what that looks like. I got a feeling it's not working. Yeah, it's identical. All right. This is why it's still a beta. We've got to make sure it works before we release it to everybody. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that it's all going to be the same as it was before. It's a beautiful launch site, I gotta say. It's nice and green. Yeah, okay, so when is Apogee in the flight? Okay, recovery, parachute deployed. Okay, so parachute deployed at 9.69 seconds. So I wanted 2 seconds after that. So I wanted 11.69. So let's see if I can do that. Flight events, delete. Okay, so time. Greater than 11.692, and then launch. Let's see if this number is shorter. Nope. It's a little shorter. Something's different. Altitude at deployment. That's definitely different. Okay, so this one did deploy at 11.7. Okay, maybe it worked. So let's see what that looks like. So I think RockSim, I guess there's two ways to interpret this. One is it's got to hit Apogee and it has to be greater than 2 seconds in the flight. Where I was thinking it had to hit Apogee and then 2 seconds after Apogee. So maybe it's not wrong. Maybe it's just like I've been interpreting what I wanted wrong. Okay, so let's go to 11.7 seconds. Okay, so we're after 11 seconds. So the parachute is out, so it did start coming down. Let me go before 11 seconds. So you can see the rocket's starting to twist to try to point its nose downward. And then at 11.7 seconds, it should flip upwards as the parachute popped out. And that's what it did. Okay. Alfred Indy says, Wheelock's Eddie Munster special in design phase. Cool. I guess he's building something that Terry Wheelock has designed. Cool. I wish there was a way to post images in here. Although Google probably wouldn't allow that. Okay, so let's go back here. Prepare for launch. Flight events. Okay, so time greater than 11.69 seconds. So here's all the different things that we can have. Never deploy, deploy now. Deploy now is kind of like deploy as soon as you push the launch button. When the rocket's still on the pad, not a good time to deploy the parachute. Apogee, maximum ejection delay, delta time. Let's go, delta time is greater than 15 seconds. Let's see what happens. I'm going to do it without. So if it's greater than, okay, so yeah, I think that worked. Let's try that again. flight events. If I use the same 15 seconds and then hit launch, I bet you we get the exact same results where the total flight time is 61.13. Yeah, that worked. Delta Q. This is pressure. And yeah, I've never set a pressure altitude. Change in Mach number, let's say greater than 0.12. And flight profile. I've never used this one before. Let's see what it does. Because RockSim Pro, when we designed it, it had all these extra features. We actually didn't design it. We incorporated it into RockSim. Somebody else wrote the software originally, and he had all these flight events, and nobody uses them. So that's why we wanted to make all the simplified flight events. Okay, so now look at this one. This one's only going to go 8.28 seconds. So when the rocket goes faster than Mach, what did I say, 0.1 something? That's when the parachute's coming out. And the parachute came out when the rocket was still under thrust. I don't know if you noticed that. So watch, you'll see the flame. So the parachute's out, and the flame was still going. Wow. So that worked. Let's try another one. Delta Gamma. Okay, so you're wondering, what the heck is Gamma? You know what? I can't tell you, but I know where to look it up. So first so here, change in the gamma angle. So what happened here, it only got to 162 feet. So it the gamma angle must have changed. I don't remember what I had, greater than 0. Yeah, it burned out. It's only 7.94 seconds. Let me zoom out a little bit. Rocket takes, see, the parachute was already open, ready when it cleared the pad. Okay, so let me go, where do you find out what gamma is? So I go to RockSim Launch Visualizer. Let's do a new window. www.rocksim.com. Oops. Come on. There it is, rocksim.com. Okay, so I got to log in. You can use RockSim online for free, but it's limited. When you create an account, you can fly bigger motors, you can pick a launch site, but then when you page unresponsive, wait. on, I can't stop waiting. I cancel out that. Let's try it again. Come on, wakey, wakey. Michael Bryce says, is there a storefront in Colorado Springs? I would love to come down from Denver right now. Yes, there is a storefront here. We are open until we start closing down about 4:30 to clean up. It's a Friday, so people are going to want to go home on time. So if you can get here before 4:30, come on down. Otherwise, come on down on Monday. We'll be back in town on Monday. Okay, sign in. Okay. Oops, wrong one. That's not the right account. I need to log out. That one. I got several accounts. And Michael says, see you soon. Okay. Okay, so let's run a simulation. We got one loaded already. It's the Avion. And if I just hit launch, it should just select an engine. Okay. C65. Flight events. Deploy maximum ejection delay. And launch. Select an engine. I already selected the engine. Choose engine. Try it again. C6. 5. Okay. And click the launch button down here. Okay, now it's working. Okay, so now it's going to run the simulation, and it's doing this in the cloud. So it's doing it on our server somewhere, wherever they may be. All right, so what does gamma mean? So if you click on this button right here, it shows you our flight data. And if I launch, let me pause it. Okay, where's my flight data? There's gamma. That's the flight angle. There are different numbers here. There's some weird ones. But if you hover your mouse over it, it will tell you what they are. So the heading is a degrees. Gamma should be degrees. Roll rate should be like degrees per second. It's interesting that I'm not displaying any data. Let's try it again. Let's do a different engine. Choose engine. Let's try a B engine, B6, 4. Okay. Launch. Simulate. So that's how I find out what gamma is. Okay, so this launch site is probably our Pueblo, Colorado launch site. Yeah, it is. This is a terrible image. Yeah, so I'm looking kind of like to the southwest. No, I'm looking kind of to the southwest or more west. Let me flip it around to where north is straight up. And come on. Okay, so north is now straight up, and there's our launch site right there. If I click OK, it launches. And if I do this, it's still not displaying flight data. Interesting. Sometimes, since this is on the web, let's try a page refresh. See if that makes any difference. What time is it? Oh, we got a few more minutes. Okay, am I logged in? Yes, I am logged in. I'm going to choose the Avion again. Select the motor. There are no motor mounts in this design. There we go. We found one. Choose an engine. B6 4. Click OK. And launch. Simulate. It's running the simulation. Loading the rocket on our Earth. Rocket's taken off. I'm going to pause it. Go to flight data. Still got no data. All right, so I can report that to the programmer, find out what's going on there. Yeah, anyway. See if I did that in RockSim Pro. Let's see if it's working there. This was that Great Goblin rocket that we had loaded earlier. You can see the launch visualizer looks very similar, except it's not loading yet. Still loading. See, this is what it should look like. Let's see, and then, oh, here's gamma. Gamma is the flight angle. Right now our flight angle is minus 79. So you're saying, why is this minus 79? Gamma is, like if I go back when it's sitting on the launch pad, gamma is minus 89. So it's just about minus 90 degrees when the rocket is pointed straight up. So gamma is actually when the rocket is pointed straight down towards the center of the Earth, and that's the angle we're measuring from. Oops. Angle of attack, 90 degrees. Body azimuth. The azimuth is in which the launch rail is pointing at the start of the simulation. The angle of 0 defines the rail pointing to the north. An angle of 90 degrees defined pointing to the east, etc. Yeah, so that's that. Where is this? Come on, I clicked on you. Nope, I want that one. Carlos says, does anyone run Launch Visualizer on an iPad? If you can run your web browser on an iPad, it should work just fine. Because it's in the cloud and it's running on our servers and it's just a web page, the launch visualizer should work just fine. And he says, or more probably a browser on an iPad. Yes, it should work just fine. And the cool thing is, if you have Wi-Fi or a hotspot on the launch field, you can run it there as well. Yeah. All you need is internet connection. So we've come to the conclusion of today. I should be back tomorrow. Not tomorrow, next Friday. My daughter does not have another diving competition until November. They always on like a Friday and a Saturday. So I'll probably miss some more time here coming up, but not in the immediate future. So I will be back next Friday. So thank you for everybody for showing up today. And if you're watching on replay, why don't you come on a Friday? And so you can ask your questions. But if you can't, please email them to us. You can go to our website. On every page, there's a little button that says Contact Us, and it's usually in the top right on the page. You click on that, and you can send us an email with your question, and we'll try to answer that the next time we do RockSim Live. All right, so I'll give you a countdown, and we'll go out, and tomorrow is launch day. So let's hope it's a good weather day. So in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.